Charlie video. I'm Charlie, and I am absolutely thrilled, deeply and genuinely thrilled to introduce you to one of my favourite agents of all time, Murray Lee of Dreamview Estates in North London. Golders Green, right?
Yes, correct.
Now, I've known Murray a long time, and full disclosure, Murray's actually been a client of my estate agency software business as well. But that's how I know that Murray's someone to be trusted. And Murray doesn't need to spin anything to get business. He's one of the busiest agents there is because of his incredible reputation. I mean, is it 47 or 48 years you've been an agent now?
Nearly 50. On April the 10th next year, it will be 50 years.
Wow. And am I right that today is the 10th anniversary of you opening Dreamview Estates?
Correct. I've been in Golders Green since 94, in Northwest London since 73 when I started. I came to Golders Green with another company and came here in 2012. We met while I was at the company.
Congratulations. Now, I've got a really, really important question that you are better placed to answer than I am, I think. And if I'd still like your perspective on this, and that is this. I am getting countless messages and direct messages from my followers on Moving Home with Charlie every day saying, if we need to sell, how do we know which agents we can trust and which ones we can't? Because they all say they can be trusted and they all sound very impressive. But how do we really know which ones we can trust? And I just wanted to know what your advice would be to someone that has to go out, doesn't know who to choose because they've never sold before. How do they separate out the agents with real integrity from the rest?
Very difficult question to answer, and not something you can encapsulate in a bottle, if you understand what I mean by that. Knowing who the best in the area can sometimes be very simply sticking your finger in the air and see which way the wind blows, but that's not the safest way to do it. The most logical, in my opinion, is to probably go back to the agent that you bought through, as long as you had a good experience with them and as long as they're still practicing. If you've had some experience working with them in the past, you can't beat local recommendation going back to the person you've been to. I'm proud of the fact in one case I've sold a property 4 times because they won't come back to me. And that's exactly how I think it's got to work. Learning who those people are if you didn't have a good experience with your agent initially is even more tricky. And the only way I think you can do that is to interview them personally. You have to get a feel of people. You have to check their reviews. Obviously, social media is a great way of seeing what people think of agents. But sadly, I'm afraid I think it's a little bit construed because bad reputations shouldn't be based on reviews alone. And I think, unfortunately, sometimes people get a bit angry. They tend to put bad reviews up without having the opportunity to explain what's happened. We, I'm proud to say, get mostly good reviews. I think we're 4.5 out of 5 or whatever the target is. We're not going to please all the people all the time. But I think you have to build a relationship with the agent. You have to introduce yourself to them. Or I should say the other way around. You should get them to introduce themselves to you, have a meeting with them, get a feeling about how they are, and see if you trust them face to face. Can you look in their eyes and can you shake their hands and count your fingers afterwards? That, in a simple nutshell, is it. As you mentioned a few minutes ago, I've been doing it for 50 years now, and that's how I get to where I am and how we've got to where we are today. You build trust with people. You don't get it overnight, that's for sure. You earn their trust. So if you've trusted them from the start when you bought the property from them, and as I say, providing you had a good experience, that's place one to start. But if you don't have that option and you didn't have a good experience, then you're going to have to trawl the internet or maybe go around locally. I like people who visit my office. I prefer to see a vendor comes in and sees me first time. We're still very much high street agents. I know that dynamic is changing. And we interview each other over the desk and we see that we get on and we strike up a rapport straight away. Or, of course, you go around to their property, you get introduced, you come into their front door, you sit with them, you speak to them and learn what they're looking for. And hopefully by doing so, they'll get a feeling about you and that they can trust you.
Thank you, Murray. That's great advice. I was talking to a retired agent called John Durrant the other day, and I'd love to know your opinion on this point. He said that one of the biggest trust indicators between agents that you can and can't trust is he says he never trusts agents that want a long-term sole agency lock-in. What's your view on that?
Absolutely agree entirely. I don't think anybody who accepts a 12-week, which is the norm around here, sole agency, is risking the opportunity of selling the property. We push for 8. I in fact comment on it when I'm with the people initially. If you're being asked for 12, I think it's too long. I don't want 12 weeks. If I can't prove myself to you in 4 to 6 weeks, then something's not right. And we'd like the extra period of time to make it a nice square box. 8 weeks, 2 months makes sense. But I like the option at the end of the 8 weeks to sit with you, discuss with you why it hasn't sold, and at least perhaps keep me on board as your agent if you're going to go multiple. If we've not impressed you or done anything correct, well, then I'll understand why you don't want us to stay on board. I get it. But without doubt, 3 months to try and sell a property is far, far too long.
Excellent. Murray, thank you.
Tied to that.
I'm sorry, say that again, I missed it.
And to be tied to 3 months.
Yes, exactly. My last question is this. I mean, you, as you say proudly, you've been almost 50 years in the industry. You must remember the previous bad downturns, and when you very first started, the early 70s, I think, was quite a tough time, and then of course in the early to mid 90s was a rough time too. A lot of my followers don't know what negative equity is, and if they do, they've never experienced it and got no idea what it's like and just how horrible it is. What advice would you give to a first-time buyer who's got a property, they've got their mortgage, they've saved up their deposit over 10 years and it's a bit at the top of the market and they really want to buy and they're just so excited about buying, but we are looking at a potential recession and potentially falling house prices. What advice would you give to a first-time buyer about avoiding negative equity?
That's probably one of the hardest questions you've had to answer as an estate agent. In fact, I've been asked it twice in the last day. A lady came in to see me who was looking to buy about 2 or 3 years ago. Circumstances weren't right. She's being told now, buy, the market's peaked, etc. What's my view? And she said to me, she came to me literally because she trusts my opinion. She's not bought from me before. She nearly did. And she said, what do you think's happening? And my personal view is that I think we're looking at a downturn in the market. We're very fortunate here in northwest London where prices haven't crashed to the extent they have in other areas, so it's a little bit of a bubble. And a young man who's working for me is asking me the same question. What should he do? Number one, he's finding it a struggle to find anything anyway. So whatever he's looking at to buy is probably a premium price or top-end market price. And he asked me that question, what would he do if the market goes down? And my answer to him was as follows. You're going to have to sit back and wait. If the market does tank, which isn't a nice word to use, but that's what we're talking about, you just may not be able to sell it for a while. You're going to have to stay in that property for a while until you see the market come back. And it does. You've commented on how long I've been in it. It's cyclical. I've seen ups, I've seen downs, I've seen ups and I've seen downs. It levels out eventually. We're in a little bit of a hiatus at the moment because of the shortage of property, which has forced the market up dramatically. That I think is going to level out now personally because of the economic situation which you're commenting on for me at the moment. And I think if you're speaking to people and they're saying, should I buy now? If you need to buy now, the answer's still got to be yes. If you can take your time and keep an eye on the market, then perhaps the answer is wait to see what happens. Not necessarily great advice to my other estate agents because they're going to say, why are you telling people not to buy? But it comes back to the word trust, doesn't it? If they're going to trust you to give them any advice at all, you've got to give them the bad advice with the good advice. And this is what I said to my colleague in the office. I said, if he needs to buy, there's no two ways about it. He's living with his family. They've got a young baby. They need a home. I said, buy. It doesn't matter today what it is. You'll be happy. It'll be a home for a few years. And if it does go down, you just won't move. You'll have to stay put. We don't know yet, neither you nor I, how bad this is going to get. And I don't want to sound like the angel of doom. But if it does get really bad, in fact, I noticed someone mentioned on social media yesterday, remember the times when people pushing the keys back through the door with the repossessions? We haven't seen that for a long time. And I don't think we're going to see that again quite as much. I don't think it's dangerous for the building societies to start taking that route. So my advice is, if you need to buy, keep on going. If you don't need to buy, keep an eye on what the market's doing.
Well, Murray, you really are in a rare minority of agents who will openly give that honest advice, because I've had agents shouting at me for saying this sort of thing, saying, why are you talking the market down? Shut up, shut up, shut up, they've been saying to me. So it really does go to show the value of trustworthy advice that may not be in your interest as an agent to be giving out right now. So I appreciate that very much. Murray, thank you for your time. I'm going to wrap the interview up here now. All the best, and I'll probably see you on here again for another conversation soon.
Look forward to it. Cheers.
All right.
Thanks. Bye.